Hello, Leslie Wilcox here again. This is the third in the series of 6 about becoming strategic with robotic process automation. In this one, I want to focus on gaining early stakeholder buy-in and building governance early as well. We've done a lot of research into this, and what we're finding is that projects are stalling when you don't get the full set of stakeholders on board day zero. By the way, it's the same applies to governance. Governance has to be in place day zero before you start. Otherwise, you're going to find inhibitors to your progress. So when we talk about stakeholders, try to remember that IT function and IT department is a vital stakeholder in this. Because very often RPA has been sold as a way of declaring independence from the IT department. You cannot declare independence from the IT department. The thing is driven by information technology, and you have to fit with their own governance rules in terms of the technology trajectory, the platforms in existence, the enterprise systems, the levels of security needed. All this makes technology people vital partners and vital stakeholders that you need to get on board day zero. But it's also the business units, the people who are going to use these technologies in their business processes, the people who are going to make the gains but also have to invest their time and effort. And a vital stakeholder grouping is senior executives. You will never be strategic if you don't get senior executives on board with your RPA plans and your automation strategies. They command the budget, they provide the resources, they protect, they allow you time, they make sure you have the right levels of staffing, and they provide motivation and vision, clarity and political influence. So absolutely vital group of people to get on board. You get the idea quite quickly now, I think, that it's not just about the technology, it's about organizational behavior and about organizational politics. And so this is one way of managing it. How do people manage it? Well, the first thing that they do, at least the leaders, is, as you see on this diagram, they go to creating a center of excellence. Whatever you want to call it, it's essentially a core capability in the organization that enables you to manage by developing, getting people on board, and deploying the technologies and scaling the technologies over time. This seems to be a very sensible thing to do, and usually with RPA you have to centralize a lot more than you think in order to get lift off. The next thing I want to bring up is the issue of governance. Governance is about establishing the rules of the game, the constitution, who does what when, who controls budgets, who makes what decisions. And if you look at this diagram, I think it's a fairly good representation of what people do when they become strategic. They, again, day zero, they create governance structure and governance mechanisms. And they, first of all, have a group of people who are responsible for setting up the governance mechanisms. And they then delegate a lot of the governance to an operational group, which I call the Center of Excellence in this diagram. But note also that stakeholders have various tasks within the governance framework. So, for example, the business people are much more concerned with what the technologies actually do in process and business terms. And so they have a primary governance responsibility for arriving at the business imperative, suggesting detailed requirements, supplying business subject matter experts to projects. These kinds of things they have control over and make decisions about. On the other hand, as we get more technological, So the IT function or the hybrid IT people within the Centre of Excellence have much more decision-making rights and much more to say about what technologies to choose, what the technologies can and can't do, how they fit with other aspects of the technology portfolio within the organisation. And all these governance processes and structures and people within the governance structures are all interconnected. You can't separate these out. But I'm trying here analytically to get to the point to demonstrate to you how you should set up your governance mechanisms and how they will actually function and the rationale for that. So, very important points here. Day zero, early stakeholder buy-in. Don't underestimate the power of that and the power of what happens if you don't get early stakeholder buy-in. I assure you, we've seen many disasters as a result of this. And day zero also, governance mechanisms set up for the long haul.